take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline 800-505-8709. 800-505-8709. 800-505-8709.
Welcome in. We're just about ready to start. Here we go. Band's playing. I cannot be sure if God was having fun yesterday or if he was crying tears of disappointment over what was going on down at the State House. But it was raining. Water was falling from heaven. And the people who were down at the State House protesting, some of them, let me just say this up front, some of them with very good reason, if they're protesting one aspect of the state budget proposal to fund schools. One aspect in it is rotten, but a lot of what is being said about the state funding of schools proposal is wholly inaccurate. We will go through all that today on a Friday edition of the Bruce Hooley Show. Jesse Waters sat down last night with the Doge team. He introduced us to the infamous Big Balls, the guy who, elicited all kinds of criticism for his rather crude nickname on LinkedIn. But some of the things that came out of that, including a tie between a U.S. government agency and the Taliban, is amazing. I'll have that for you today. Donald Trump spoke at commencement last night at the University of Alabama, where he said the future will not be dictated by the Harvard Crimson, but by the Crimson Tide. Yes, Crimson Tide is Alabama's nickname. Harvard Crimson is Harvard's nickname. So we'll have all that. But first, let's get to the protest, shall we? Now, listen, we have a primary election day coming up on Tuesday. You may, in your district, school district where you live, have a levy proposal on your ballot. I'm going to give you the tools today to be armed with information so that you can make an informed judgment about whether or not you want to support or not support the levy in your district. Now, this is not really a complicated issue, okay? To me, it is the same kind of an issue that I engage in as a consumer. If I hire a contractor, say, to do something at my house, and they do a really good job, then the next time I have a similar need or the exact same need, I will call that exact same contractor because I feel like A, they've done quality work, and B, they charge me a fair price for it. I deem it to be a wise use of my resources. And sometimes that doesn't mean the lowest price. Like I hired a roofer one time who did the job at a low price. I found out I got what I paid for. And so the next time that I needed a roofing problem corrected, I went with a roofer who was, by all accounts, much more expensive than the others. But you know what? I haven't had a single problem since then. And I didn't just make it a decision on price. I made a decision upon talking to people who said, I have a personal experience with this roofer. He did a great job for me. Okay, so why would schools be any different? You should do two things when you are evaluating a school levy in your district. You should go to the state auditor's website and you're like, oh, my head's hurting already. I can't possibly do this. Okay, well, let me just make it real easy for you. Just write down a couple words that you can search and it'll pop right up. Just Google Ohio Auditor Spending Efficiency Map. Ohio Auditor Spending Efficiency Map. And what this is, I've talked about this before. I just want to reiterate, this is a valuable tool for you to judge the district that you're in. Because what it does, it puts a map of Ohio on the screen, and every school district has its own little section on the map. And it lists for every school district the amount of money that the district spends per student in that district. So how do they figure that out? It's very easy. The school is a public entity. A public school is a public entity. This doesn't work for private schools, but it works for every public school district. Private schools don't put levies on the ballot, so you're not out anything. So it takes the number of kids enrolled, which is public record, the amount of funding that school has, and it just divides the students into the funding to give you an average amount spent per student to educate the student. Okay, well, that's an incomplete picture of how the district is performing. Because what do you also need? You need to know what kind of performance am I getting, just like with the roofer, what kind of performance am I getting for the money as a taxpayer that I'm spending to educate the students in my district? Well, thankfully, Auditor Keith Faber factors in state test scores. There's a median test score in the state of Ohio, an average test score, your math proficiency score in the state of Ohio. The state average is 52%. Yes, we can have another segment another time deploring the fact that only a little more than half of our students are at math proficiency statewide. The reading proficiency scores statewide are 60%, which is, again, better than 52% on the math side, but not nearly good enough. Some of that's COVID loss. Some districts are struggling to make that up. Some are not. But Keith Faber, the auditor, pairs the amount spent per student with the test score. Now, if your district is spending maybe above average per student, but you're getting above average performance, you can evaluate that however you want. If I'm a resident of that district and I'm concerned about my property values and whether or not my money's being stewarded well, I would say, yeah, that's a something that I'd be willing to listen to from the district about why we have to spend more, but here's the response that we're getting. Now, there are, of course, districts that spend a lot and deliver a little. I mean, very little. And of course, one of those districts, as you well know, is the Columbus City School District. I took note yesterday that down at the protest, there was a picture online, which is now retweeted on my social media with just facts, no editorial judgments. And the picture has two gentlemen in it. One of them is Herschel Craig, a Democrat from Columbus. I believe he is a state representative. He is a state representative. And the other gentleman next to Herschel Craig is Shannon Hardin, the president of Columbus City Council. And they are both holding signs, both of them, holding signs that say, fighting for public education. Okay, well, they're standing in the rain. Mr. Craig has an umbrella, and Mr. Hardin is trying to get under the umbrella so he doesn't get wet. They say they're fighting for public education. All right, here's what I posted. Columbus City Schools, according to State Auditor Keith Faber's map, spends $16,200 per pupil. Yet it ranks 599th in Ohio public school districts in spending efficiency on the state auditor's website. Now, is the performance of Columbus City school students related to the spending? In other words, are other districts spending 25 grand per student and poor Columbus just doesn't have the money to educate their students? Well, let's hop around. Right next to Columbus, Hilliard, they spend $12,800 per student. They rank 418. Not really a great ranking there. Worthington spends 14 grand. They rank 461. I don't think that's very good either. Dublin spends 13.5. They rank 373. Oh, look at this. Jonathan Alder, just outside Dublin, spends $10,000 per student, and they rank 44th in spending efficiency. Licking Heights, similarly admirable. Look at this, Licking Heights. You're doing something right in Licking Heights. Spend $8,500 per student. They rank 21st. Johnstown Monroe, they spend less than 10, a little less than 10, $9,900. They rank 59th. And Southwest Licking, they spend $9,500 per student and they rank 49th. So what does this tell us? What does this tell us? This tells us that educating students is not solely a factor of money. But the people downtown yesterday are crabbing about, and they all come from all different districts. So some of the districts may be underfunded. I don't know. Some of them may be overperforming. I don't know. You have to go to the auditor's map and look. The other thing you can do, another metric, is to look and see what are the math and reading proficiency scores in your district. That's very easy to do. Just type in state report card math, reading proficiency, and your district. Boom, there it is. Would you like to know where Columbus ranks? I know you would. Columbus has a math proficiency score of 19%. Remember, the state average was 52%. The reading proficiency score of Columbus City Schools is 31%, which is just eking over the halfway to state average of 60%. Okay, so there's Herschel Craig and Shannon Hardin, and no doubt many, many others from the Columbus Education Association, and probably a lot of Democratic legislators down there talking about, we're not fairly funding our schools. If you hired a contractor and they came to your house and they put a roof on your house, and the first big storm, your roof leaked, would you have the contractor back to fix it and give them more money to fix it? I don't think you would, unless you're stupid. So in your individual district, and I'm not making a case for any levy anywhere, I'm saying be an informed voter. Go use those two resources I gave you to evaluate if you're getting your money's worth out of your local district.
This afternoon, variable cloudiness, shower and thunderstorm could bring some downpours and damaging wind. Behind today, 76. Clouds and showers, thunderstorm for tonight, low 58. Cloudy, breezy, and cooler tomorrow. A shower and thunderstorm, the high at 64. Clouds and breezy, rain on Sunday, the high at 66. Partly sunny for Monday and Tuesday. A passing shower each day, the high Monday, 67. Tuesday's high, 66. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM. The Answer.
Dr. Brandon Schreiner here from Revive Chiropractic. I frequently see patients who tell me, my doctor can't find anything wrong, but I know something isn't right. Last month, a patient came to me after seeing 5 different specialists for chronic fatigue and unexplained pain. No one could offer answers. Through comprehensive chiropractic assessment, I discovered significant nerve interference in her mid-back, affecting her organ function and energy levels. Within 3 weeks of care, she reported feeling like herself again, for the first time in years. As a chiropractor, I look at the body as an integrated system. When your spine is misaligned, it affects your nervous system, which controls everything from pain perception to organ function. Issues that confound conventional testing often respond remarkably well to chiropractic care. If you've been told everything looks normal, but still feel unwell, give us a call at 614-781-8808. I'm offering new patients a thorough evaluation, necessary x-rays, and first adjustment for just $49. This is Dr. Brandon Schreiner from Revive Chiropractic, ready to listen and dig deeper.
Hey, Mike Lindell and his employees want to personally thank you for your continued support of MyPillow, and I do as well. I'm Bruce Hooley. MyPillow has a big allotment of their bed sheets that were earmarked for box stores this spring, and now, well, the box stores didn't come through. So, Mike Lindell and MyPillow are going to pass the savings on to you. There's no middleman, so you're going to get wholesale prices on their famous Giza, Dreams, and Percale bed sheets. Giza Dream Queen Size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99. King Size, only $79.99. Percale Queen Size, normally $89.99. Your wholesale price is, get this, $29.98. And the King Size, only $34.98. So go to MyPillow.com and use my promo code Bruce. This allotment will not last long, and when they are gone, they are gone. So go to MyPillow.com and use my promo code Bruce. That's MyPillow.com, promo code Bruce.
Quick question. Did you know that the conservative news and talk content that you're currently enjoying on this station and online is supported by advertisers? Here's another one for you, and this one is for our business audience. Are you aware that our loyal listeners eagerly engage with our advertisers because they know that these advertisers share their values and care about our programming as much as they do? Listeners, tell your favorite businesses about us. And business owners, contact us today to create and implement strategies that drive people to connect and engage with you, helping you grow and experience the value of long-term loyal customers. Join with us today to continue spreading the good word.
To learn how to reach our audience with your business's message and support this station, contact Carolyn Cassidy at 614-318-0401 or click on the Advertise With Us banner at 989theanswer.com. That's 989theanswer.com.
What does a waterfall have to do with us? How do mountains relate to? How is a anything like? What's the similarity between and? The answer is they are all parks, because the National Park Service isn't just about unspoiled nature. It's also about history, recreation, remembrance, and so many other things. Find out what a park can be to you at findyourpark.com.
If you've attended either of the last two of the three big station events we had, one was with Mike Gallagher and one was with Larry Elder, and you have the chance to do a twofer by joining both of them, Gallagher and Elder, on the Patriots Alaska cruise. It will set sail August the 16th through the 23rd, and it is a cruise full of Patriots cruising to Alaska. It will depart from Seattle and then go to Puget Sound, Juneau, Sitka, Ketchikan, and Victoria, British Columbia. You'll see Glacier Bay, the Stevens Passage. Now, during the day, you're on your own, but at night, you'll have a chance to commiserate with other Patriots and hear both Larry Elder and Mike Gallagher talk about the news events of the day. So it's a Holland America cruise liner, and you can find out more and hopefully book passage by going to travelwithsalem.com, travelwithsalem.com. So big protest downtown yesterday. Oh, they had to close the municipal courts and all kinds of things. And just so much of this, I don't mind people protesting if they're willing to engage and have an honest conversation. Make your case, but don't lie. And to say that school funding is being cut is not accurate. Now, I understand that public school advocates don't like the amount of money that Ohio is spending on ed choice, but what can we gather from the fact that ed choice scholarships are increasing every year? This is not true of every district. It is true in some districts that more parents are exploring alternative options for their children's education because they're not satisfied with the education that their children are getting from the system in which their children are enrolled. Now, if ed choice was offered in year one and it was, let's say, $10 million statewide, I don't know what it is, but let's just say 10 million, easy number to remember. And then in year two, it went down to 9.5 million. Well, what would the takeaway be? The takeaway would be that people who tried a different alternative regret their decision because the system is not expanding. They found out that, you know what, we had it pretty good in the public schools. We like some of the advantages that public schools offer. Wider community support very often, probably more offerings in different foreign languages and this, that, and the other. But if ed choice is expanding, and it is exploding, what does that tell you? That tells you that, again, in some districts, not every district, but in some districts, people are like, you know, the more money we give to the school, the less performance we get. And so let's try something different. And then they try it, and then they like it, and then they stick with it. Here is a comment from an English teacher her name is Kelsey Gray. She tells WCMH, that's Channel 4, we're out here protesting the constant defunding of public education and all public services. Oh, that's just not true. That is just not true. There is not a constant defunding of public education or of all public services. I don't know that there's a defunding of any public services. I bet if you gave me a red marker and a machete, I could go through the budget and find some public services that don't deserve the money, like $100 million bike path, like $50,000 from the Franklin County Commissioners for the Pride Parade. But that's not all public services. And then there's a key phrase in this story. Educators believe that the spending plan in front of the state legislature would cut money from public schools across state. Well, you can believe it all you want to. You can believe jumping off the Levesque Tower won't be harmful to your health, but it will be. Believing it doesn't make it true. Here's another quote from Kelsey. Let me see if you can identify Kelsey's political persuasion. You ready? Here we go. The people working in the schools and the students and the families that are part of the public schools know what's best. And we need politicians to start making decisions for us because they're never made for the people. All right, I'm confused already. Kelsey, aren't you a people? You want them to start making decisions for you. You would be a people if they make that decision. Then they would be confounding your statement that they never make decisions for the people, which also, I hate to go down another rabbit trail here, but if they're never making decisions for the people, how are they continuing to get reelected? Because people tend to vote for people who do things they like. So I can't follow your logic, but I'm suspecting you're a Democrat. Here, well, you gave it away. She continues, they're always made for the 1%, the billionaires, the upper class. How many billionaires do we have in Columbus? Les Wexner. Any others? If so, they're under the radar. I don't know. Other educators at the protest said it's important for teachers to speak out because they feel the whole education system is under attack. Maybe it is. Maybe it needs to be. Not the whole education system, because again, there are some really, really good districts. I just outlined some for you. They spend a little over 10 grand, a little less than 10 grand. They rank in the top 50 on the spending efficiency map. They're not under attack. Their communities love them because they're giving them good values. Donald Trump, of course, wants to end the Department of Education. He says it's indicative of waste, fraud, and abuse in the government, and that it has been polluted by liberal ideology that is being taught in schools. Very few of you listening to this broadcast would disagree with that, but guess what? There are teachers who do. Many of the demonstrators at the State House on Thursday said that the power should be in the hands of the educators, not the lawmakers. Well, that would be a sweet system, would it not? If you were an educator and you were in charge of funding yourself and you had no oversight from lawmakers, which, again, lawmakers are not really the true overseers. Who are the real true overseers? I'll give you a hint. Who puts the lawmakers in office? That's right. That would be the voters. So this advocate, this teacher, this person at the protest wants the teachers to be in charge of the process and the funding and the curriculum and everything else, and doesn't want I don't even know if they know what they're saying, but what they're saying when they say they don't want the lawmakers in charge of the process is they're saying they don't want the voters to have any input, which again, have we already seen evidence that this is true? We have, with a child comes to school, they're experiencing gender confusion, and they go to a teacher, and the teacher says, oh, you want to be a different sex than you are? Okay, fine. Here, go in the closet, change into boy clothes if you're a girl, or girl clothes if you're a boy, and I'll call you by a different name, and we'll make sure we don't tell your parents. So, I mean, we already have evidence that this is being done by some. And again, I want to be super, super clear on this. Go to the state auditor's spending efficiency map. Google it, find it. Ohio Auditor, Keith Faber, school district spending efficiency map. Find out what kind of performance you're getting out of your local school in test scores. Google this, state report card, blah, 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 school district, Ohio. It'll tell you reading proficiency, math proficiency. It'll give you the state averages. Be an informed consumer and spender on education.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. It's a 15-year high for childhood flu deaths. Public health officials report 216 youngsters succumbed to the flu this season. The U.S. economy continues cranking out jobs. 177,000 people hired last month by America's employers. The unemployment rate for April holding steady at 4.2%. President Trump has named Secretary of State Rubio
national security advisor, and the president plans to nominate current advisor Mike Waltz for the post of U.S. ambassador to the UN. Communist China continues to complain about the president's drive to level the playing field.
To take charge of their own. But in America, we reject that idea. Graduates of the Alabama class of 2025.
I have to tell you, Day Trump. Please join me in welcoming the 45th and 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Please join me in welcoming to speak to our graduates.
And the Salem News Channel and townhall.com. He's Chris DeGaulle, and you can hear him weekday mornings 6 to 9 on your station for news, opinion, and passion. 98.9 FM, The Answer.
I'm CPA Brad Hennebert with Premier Tax CPAs. And the true value of using a CPA is getting guidance throughout the year, not just at tax time. During the year, we can actively advise you on your financial and tax planning and other major business decisions, just like an outside CFO. Too often, when you see your accountant only at tax time, we're really only keeping score of what you did last year. We'll prepare a comprehensive tax plan to maximize your deductions and minimize the tax you pay, and present you with money-saving options you may not have ever considered. We'll update your financial position each quarter, so there are no nasty surprises at tax time. At Premier Tax CPAs, we like to have consultations with our clients throughout the year because important financial information is only useful if it's timely. At Premier Tax CPAs, we're a firm that can work with you and your business throughout the year to help you make decisions before it's too late. Give us a call at Premier Tax CPAs at 614-524-4888. That's 614-524-4888.
Bad decisions limit future options. Make enough bad decisions, and you will destroy your life. Listen to The Flock Line with your host Rick Hughes every Sunday morning at 8 here on 98.9 FM, The Answer. The Flock Line describes a main line of resistance in your soul built on God's Word. Join us every Sunday for 30 minutes of inspiration, motivation, education, all without manipulation. That's The Flock Line with Rick Hughes, Sunday mornings at 8, right here on 98.9 FM, The Answer. News, opinion, passion. Here, 98.9 FM, The Answer, anywhere you go with The Answer's mobile app at 989theanswer.com. Also on your smart speakers, TuneIn or iHeart.
I met with a lovely couple last night at our retail outlet for flooring after hours. I'm more than happy to do that for those of you who can't arrange your schedule to come during the day. I don't live far from it, and I'm glad to answer any questions that you might have. This lovely couple building their own house, very exciting time in their life. They're very concerned about costs going up, and they're making a judicious decision. I'm not going to pressure you to buy anything. I encourage them, in fact, to go pursue some other options, because I only want to help you if I can really help you. If I can get the product in faster, if I can get it to you at a savings, a quality product. A lot of places out there, you're just a number. You're just a customer. I consider you my friend. I mean, I basically get all my customers from those of you who listen to this show. So if you need carpet, if you'd like to convert a space into the virtually indestructible luxury vinyl plank flooring, which looks like wood, but is just 1,000% better in all ways, go to BruceHooley.com and click flooring. I'd love to meet you. BruceHooley.com, click flooring. Well, yesterday about this time, we were talking about Michael Wall's supposed ouster as a national security advisor to Donald Trump. He is not going to hold that job anymore, but we have since gotten clarity that Walls is being moved to ambassador to the United Nations. So I think probably somewhere in the middle of what we're hearing about this is true. Number one, it was like, Walz is fired because he included Jeffrey Goldberg of The Atlantic on the Signal chat, the chat about the Houthi rebel attack on the Houthi rebels. Yeah, I'm sure that didn't please Trump that one of his arch enemies, Jeffrey Goldberg, was on the chat. But Walz is not going to be thrown to the side. You say, we didn't have a UN ambassador? We did for a while. Elise Stefanik of New York was the nominee, but then her seat might have gone to a Democrat in the special election for a successor. So Trump asked her to go back to Congress because of the razor-thin margin that Republicans have, leaving a gap. And Walz now will be a plain-spoken guy at the UN who will do a tremendous job. Marco Rubio has the job temporarily of National Security Advisor while he is still Secretary of State. So that happened yesterday. And last night, Donald Trump was in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, at the University of Alabama to speak at Alabama's commencement, which just sent my mind on a fanciful trip down a road wondering what would happen if Donald Trump were to speak at Ohio State's commencement. That would be wonderful, wouldn't it? Hey, Ted Carter, Top Gun Ted, if you really want to steam your faculty, I mean, if you're getting, if the glow of ending 2 diversity, equity, inclusion offices at Ohio State is starting to wear off, Colonel Ted, just invite Trump to speak at commencement and then watch heads explode all over the faculty labs. At Alabama, though, Trump was welcomed as a conquering hero, and Nick Saban, who has got a statue at Alabama, well earned as their football coach, winning multiple national championships, introduced Donald Trump last night. This is how it sounded.
Now it is my distinct honor to introduce our next speaker. Please join me in welcoming the 45th and 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Trump comes out. Trump is clapping, waving. I waited for him to salute. He didn't salute. Thumbs up from Trump. Got a great band in Alabama, don't they? Yeah. Now he's headed up the stairs. They're all standing, all the grads, all their phones are out, taking pictures. They love Trump. All right, now he's coming up to the stage. Now listen what happens. Oh, big ovation. Okay. Anything else going to happen? Polite applause. Oh, wait a second. Here it comes. Yes, indeed. They chanted USA, USA, USA to Donald Trump. Now, he gave a fantastic address. And one of the things that Donald Trump stressed to the Alabama graduates is to reject something that perhaps they're not taught at Alabama, but they're certainly taught in society.
Don't consider yourself a victim. Consider yourself a winner. In recent years, too many of our young people have really been taught to think of themselves as victims and blame people and be angry. Don't be angry. Our heroes are the ones who take charge of their own destiny.
He's absolutely right about that. And I thought that comment from the president was particularly well timed, given the fact that today in the Columbus Dispatch, there is a study written about the Community Shelter Board's annual count of homeless people in Columbus. I want to make it clear up front that there are situations where people become homeless through no fault of their own. They suffer a catastrophic health incident, they lose their job, but generally, don't edit that out when you try to hang me up with these comments, generally, a large degree, not the entirety, but a large degree of homelessness is not because you're a victim. I mean, we have incentivized victimhood. We have created it. We have fostered it. We have incentivized it. We have lauded it. You're a victim. You're a victim. You're a victim because you're gay. You're a victim because you're black. You're a victim because you're an immigrant. You're a victim because. And it is someone's fault that you're homeless, but very often that fault lies with the person looking back at you from the mirror, because you've just taken the easy way in the aftermath of suffering something tragic or catastrophic. You thought, that job's beneath me. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get a job. I'm not going to do 2 jobs. See, if you were at the Larry Elder event, Larry told a powerful story about his father, that his father essentially worked around the clock, scrubbing toilets. His father was black. He thought, from a previous experience on the West Coast when he was a Pullman on a train, that people in LA were really, really nice, and that he wouldn't be discriminated against in Los Angeles if he moved out there like he was in the South. And then Larry Elder's father got out to LA and he found out that, no, I'm discriminated against here. I mean, he could have curled up in a ball and slept on the street like so many people are in LA right now, but he didn't. He got a job scrubbing toilets. Then he got another job scrubbing toilets, and he kept scrubbing toilets until he could cobble enough money together to start his own business and to put his kids through school and college. Okay, so you don't have to be a victim. Very often you do not have to be a victim. But in Columbus, here are the numbers on homelessness. It increased by 22% in 2022. It increased by 1.7% in 2023. And it increased, according to the latest numbers, 7.4% in 2024. Now, how far in this story do you think I needed to get before we got to the favorite blaming target of those who think they know how to solve homelessness? 2 paragraphs before we got to the buzzword that Andrew Ginther and Shannon Hardin and every other activist in Columbus says will fix homelessness is affordable housing, right? Affordable housing. Everything's an affordable housing problem. People are homeless because there's not enough affordable housing. That is not true. That is not true. Okay? It just is not. You are not obligated as a land owner, as a property owner, as an apartment building owner. You are not obligated to rent something below your cost just to be kind. This story, which I printed out from the Dispatch, is 4.5 pages long. I was looking in this story for 2 things. I was looking for the finger to be pointed at affordable housing, and that took 2 paragraphs. And then I was looking for somebody, anybody, and the story quotes Shannon Isom, president and CEO of the Community Shelter Board. I don't believe it quotes Mayor Ginther, but it definitely quotes Shannon Hardin, city council president. And nowhere in the story did I find the 4-letter word that is the only real avenue through which homelessness will cease to be a problem in Columbus or anywhere else. And that is a 4-letter word that I can say on the air, because that 4-letter word is jobs. That's what will fix homelessness. But see, insisting that somebody has a job does not play into the incentivizing, glorifying, and fostering a victimhood culture. Because if you ask someone to work a job, they will say, well, that job's beneath me. Or why should I have to work? I deserve this. And so this problem is only going to continue. It's going to get worse because the city is, I've talked before, it was a week ago, universal basic income, $500, no strings attached. They just keep wasting money.
Shower and thunderstorm could bring some downpours and damaging wind. The high today 76. Clouds and showers. Thunderstorm for tonight, low 58. Cloudy, breezy, and cooler tomorrow. A shower and thunderstorm, the high at 64. Clouds and breezy rain on Sunday, the high at 66. Partly sunny for Monday and Tuesday. A passing shower each day. The high Monday 67. Tuesday's high 66. I'm Steve Williams on 98 FM. The Answer.
Before you list with someone else, call Ross Realtors. Ross Realtors will sell your home. It won't be listed long. Low listing fees, put your mind at ease. Tell me, how could you go wrong? Before you list with someone else, call Ross Realtors.
Are you thinking about selling your house and need help getting it ready? Hi, this is Ross DiGiorgio of Ross Realtors. I will buy your house for cash. What? That's right, I'll buy your house for cash, as is and where is. That means no inspections, no financing, take what you want and leave the rest. Call Ross Realtors 614-599-6100. So don't worry about all those people calling you asking if you want to sell your house or all those postcards you receive in the mail. Call Ross Realtors 614-599-6100. That's 614-599-6100. Cash for your home.
Before you list with someone else, call Ross Realtors.
You heard the news. Newsmax just went public on the New York Stock Exchange and listed on the big board. Millions of Americans like you are joining our news revolution. Reuters Institute says Newsmax is one of the top 12 news brands in America. Even President Trump says it's terrific. 40 million Americans go to Newsmax, and its audience grew 50% since the same time last year. Millions really are making the switch to Newsmax. If you want to be a Newsmax share owner, call your advisor or get more info at newsmaxinvest.com. Stand with Newsmax today for a strong America. This communication is for informational purposes only and shall not be intended to or shall not constitute any offer to buy or sell securities, nor shall there be any sale of securities in any jurisdiction in which such offer, solicitation, or sale would be unlawful.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at tra.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
We're more connected than ever before. 90% of America's students use some form of social media, but not all of it's used in a good way. Hurtful posts online are leading to social isolation for many. Psychologists say it's bullying in a brand new way. Well, Beyond Differences and I Keep Safe are looking to change that with ideas for students, their parents, and even teachers. Take the pledge to be kind online and learn more at wearekindonline.com.
MyPillow.com is where you go if you want to save money and if you want to sleep great. I mean, both of those things, who would be opposed to either saving money or sleeping well? Not me. I like saving money. I don't begrudge you that you'll save a lot more on your MyPillow than I did. I bought 2, buy one, get one free, at the price of $80 like 8 years ago. You say, you got taken on that because you've been continuing to tell me almost every day that I can get a MyPillow for under $20. And you can't. It's the exact same pillow. They haven't cheapened it. What's changed? Well, back then, MyPillow products were in all the big box stores. But that was, of course, pre-2020 election. And then Mike Lindell insisted on election integrity, and the big box stores said, we're not going to carry your products anymore. Never mind that they were selling like hotcakes, and they still are. They're just selling off the MyPillow website. You've done a great job keeping Mike in business and prospering so he can add new items like the My Crosses, which are 30% off. Lots of great deals. The Mega Sale 2.0 at MyPillow.com continues. Make sure you use my promo code, Bruce. I am looking forward to seeing my friend Josh Pick this afternoon. Well, actually this evening, as we do the Aptus Retirement Blueprint radio show. That'll air at 6 o'clock tonight, and it'll re-air tomorrow at noon. because we got a jobs report today. And Josh and I always talk about current events and effect on the economy and effect on your retirement investments in segment 1 of the hour-long Aptus Retirement Blueprint Radio Show. Today's jobs report, 177,000 new jobs. Oh, look at this, more than expected. Stocks surged on the report. That 177,000 jobs, by the way, is despite the reduction in federal jobs of 26,000. Now, you may remember back when the jobs report was coming out and Joe Biden was always touting the jobs report. And then we dig into the jobs report and say, where are the jobs coming from? Are the jobs coming from manufacturing? Are the jobs coming from the construction industry? No, they were coming from government. He's hiring more government workers, 87,000 IRS agents. Lots of people snooping around in your financial data. Lots of people at USAID. Lots of people at a place I didn't even know existed until yesterday when Jesse Waters sat down with the Doge team and told me all about the Institute of Peace, which I will get into at the top of the next hour. Very often, organizations are named with words that mean the exact opposite of what the words say. The Institute of Peace was doing business with who? You might say, oh, Greenpeace, environmentalists? No. Were they doing business with the Salvation Army? No. Were they doing business with a church group? No. Who were they doing business with at the Institute of Peace? The Taliban. That's who they were doing business with. Okay, stand by for that at the top of the next hour. But the jobs report today was very, very good, and unemployment is steady, not going up. So for the moment, the sky is not falling. I'm not saying it won't fall. I'm saying I'm not going to see. I can't be disingenuous and say I don't know what the tariffs are going to do, or the stock market's having a bad day. Don't worry, everything's going to be fine. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know. And maybe unemployment will skyrocket next month. But I was told earlier this week that GDP would be down by 2-point-something%. It is down by 0.3%. That's not much, okay? So the catastrophic tariff impact has not manifested itself yet like we are told. The jobs report is going to be terrible. Well, it wasn't terrible. It exceeded expectations. Does that mean it will next month? No, it doesn't mean that. Might it? Yes. Perhaps it won't. I don't know. But for the moment anyway, is it surprising that you're being told that Donald Trump is failing, that everything is terrible? I think the Democrats would learn their lesson, but they're not going to learn their lesson. Now, somebody is quite likely going to lose their job. Maybe even a lot of people. And I will celebrate it because yesterday, Donald Trump signed an executive order to defund, nope, not the police. That was the other administration. To defund National Public Radio and public broadcasting. He said, for years, American taxpayers have been on the hook for subsidizing National Public Radio and PBS, which spread radical woke propaganda disguised as news. Yes, all true, 100% true. Let me flash back with you to the head of PBS, Catherine Marr, the person who said that truth gets in the way and the First Amendment gets in the way of doing what NPR sees as its mission. Here she was on Capitol Hill, questioned by our own Jim Jordan.
Is NPR biased? Congressman, I have never seen any instance of political bias determining editorial decisions. No.
In the D.C. area, editorial positions at NPR, he said he found 87 registered Democrats, 0 Republicans. Is that accurate?
We do not track the numbers or the voter registration.
87 to 0, and you're not biased.
I think that is concerning if those numbers are accurate.
Just concerning. She hasn't seen it. Maybe she should work with her eyes open. That would be a good idea. So Trump promised to do this. Trump is doing it. It would be better if he could do it through legislative action. But of course, that's not going to happen because no Democrat is going to vote for that, because why would you close your own PR company? Wall Street Journal's Kim Strassel on what conditions prevailed when PBS and NPR were created and why it is different now, and thus President Trump is justified in doing what he did.
This has been something that people have had a very hard time justifying for a long time. And the conservative complaint with it is often that it is biased, and the president certainly expressed that view. And you can certainly think that it's pretty obvious, but there's other even bigger reasons why you would get rid of these programs. One is, look, the rationale when PBS was created was that it was for more choice, because there were only 3 network televisions at the time, so this was a 4th. But as we all know, there are hundreds of stations you can choose from these days. Do you know that there are 15,000 AM and FM commercial radio stations and 4 million registered podcasts? So that's not a problem anymore. Also, the demographic. There was an advertising firm that did an analysis of PBS viewers and pointed out that the average person there that watches PBS is a woman in her 30s or 40s who owns a home, takes an average of 3 vacations a year, and has a postgraduate degree. And I think a lot of Americans might wonder why so much money is going for one little demographic in a world of infinite choice.
She just described Catherine Mayer. She just described the typical PBS viewer as Catherine Mayer, who heads PBS. Besides that, I find it not coincidental at all that today in the Dispatch there is an editorial by a guy who is often given the platform to spread his woke nonsense. His name is Ray Marcano. He's always billed as a longtime journalist. Oh, a former national president of the Society of Professional Journalists. Woo, woo, woo. And he's writing about the evils of Trump's deportation of illegal alien moms. And he's using the example of children being deported with their moms. And they were born here, they're American citizens. He says, parents don't let their babies go. Give them a choice and it's no choice. My baby goes with me. Well, except when they're pregnant and they kill them, which I'm sure Ray knows about, but he's not going to admit. He says this is a genius move that Trump is pulling, but it is an evil move that Trump is pulling. He says instead of keeping families together, Team Trump has decided to tear them apart. How so? If he were tearing them apart, wouldn't he send the moms back and keep the kids here? Ray, I'm not following your logic because it's non-existent. He says it's not fair that illegal immigrants go to check in and get arrested. He said some have legal deportation orders from years ago, which begs the question, why deport them now? Ray, flash back to the beginning of your sentence. Some have legal deportation orders from years ago. That's why we're deporting them now.
Trish Regan provides the analysis you need each day on the Trish Regan podcast.
People are like, we realize there's an establishment.
They have legal deportation orders. So why are we deporting them now? Because they have legal deportation orders. Duh. All right. Looking forward to my weekend. I'm sure you're looking forward to yours. Appreciate you joining me. Having fun. Hope you're having fun. Have a blessed weekend. Final hour of the show is going to have some amazing stuff in it. Revelations from Doge, which are just absolutely mind-boggling. And we're going to have some fun with a recap of the week. So you can stick around for that on the live stream, 989theanswer.com. You can listen live, or you can go to the Bruce Hooley Show Facebook page or the 989 The Answer Facebook page and watch it. Have a great day. Appreciate it. Take care.
Recognizes that there is a gambling problem. For more information, go to